Hey guys, this is the Body Mechanic. I wanted to talk today a little bit about sitting. I'm sure you've all heard that sitting is not especially good for you. Some have gone so far as even to say that sitting is the new smoking. The idea is that something that maybe we didn't know was intrinsically bad initially, but now with new research coming in, we know there are quite a few actual negative health effects from excessive sitting. So first, I just want you to understand a little bit about compression in the spine. The way we are designed is with what's called a tensegrity model, which basically means that the elements in our body that create tension, such as muscles, tendons, ligaments, fascia, those help alleviate compression on the compression elements of our body, namely our bones and joints. And the more support you get from the tensional elements, the less compression you get. Well, when you sit down, you lose a lot of those tensional elements and you get an increase in compression in your low back of about 60%. So it's a substantial jump. And that compression can lead to spinal degeneration over time, so-called degenerative disc disease. It can lead to compression-related maladies such as sciatica or lumbar radiculopathy and things like that. You may have heard people talk about the best ways to sit. Well, I'm here to tell you there isn't really a great way to sit. Sitting simply isn't good for you, but there are some ways that are better than others. So I wanted to talk about that today. So first, I just want to talk about basic sitting mechanics. So basic sitting mechanics, we're just going to use my chair here. You basically want a pyramid here, or not a pyramid, but a triangle formed between your sits bones, which are the bony part of your rear end that you can feel when you sit down, and your tailbone. You want to try to keep sort of an equal amount of pressure between those 3 points. That gives you a more balanced compression through the spine. If you sit up too straight and rock your weight off your tailbone into your sits bones, there's a tendency that you're going to increase compression in the facet joints of your back. Those are the bony joints from vertebra to vertebra as you work up to the spine. And those can get very irritated and inflamed or even arthritic. Well, conversely, if you slouch too much and rock your weight kind of behind your sits bones and onto your tailbone, as we tend to do on couches or unsupported chairs, that creates a lot of compression in the discs themselves. It takes it off the facet joints, puts it onto the disc. So neither is really good. So really what you want to do is sort of spread that load around as much as you can. Physio ball sitting is not especially great for you. That tends to just shift your weight into the facets. Couch sitting is actually terrible for you. Couches are somewhat ironic in that they're designed for sitting, yet they are most poorly designed for sitting. Couches are really best for laying down on, but because there isn't usually a great way to sit on them in a way that is particularly supportive for your back. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is something called stretch sitting. This is something you can do at work, you can do it in your car. This is a way of cutting into that 60% increase in lumbar compression that you get when you sit. And it's a way of making your chair or your seat do as much work for you as possible. And that's kind of the name of the game in sitting, even more so than sitting correctly with that kind of 3-point pressure. Even more important than that is making sure you're putting your chair to work. In order to do stretch sitting, you're going to need a full back chair, sort of like this. So not sort of the office style chairs with just the back pad right there. That won't work for this. Cars are always great for this because they already have some lumbar support and they obviously have a full back to them. But these are great chairs here. They're not straight back. They have a little bit of curvature to them. But what you're going to do here is you're going to sit all the way back, making sure you're kind of filling that lumbar curve with the seat. Then what you're going to do is you're going to elongate vertically. So you're going to get as tall as you can. And then you're going to unfurl your back onto the chair. Okay, so from a side view here, you're lengthening and then unfurling your back onto the seat. And what happens once you let go And you'll feel this really well, particularly if your chair has a fabric back to it and it's a little grippy, or the fabric of your car seats, as you'll feel it actually hoisting you up. You'll feel it kind of lifting you by your rib cage, and you'll feel quite a bit less compression. This is especially good to do if you're going to be sitting for any length of time. Like if you're just moving around doing a bunch of odds and ends like that, that's not really conducive to stretch sitting. But if you're going to be there for a while, or you're going to be driving for a while, then it's really useful. In the car, as soon as you have to go check your blind spot or have to reach into the back seat, you're going to lose that stretch, and then you just reset it again. It only takes a second. Just hoist up, roll back, and drop, just like that. No, it works really well. Fabric seats work better than leather seats. Leather seats aren't nearly as grippy, but they can still be helpful. You'll just have to reset more often to get that tension, because there will be a tendency to slide in. And then, as I mentioned in the micro breaks video, you're definitely going to want to minimize the continuous duration of sitting. The amount of sitting you get continuously in a row actually has more of a negative effect than the total amount you get in the aggregate. So like 2 hours of continuous sitting is going to be worse than 3 hours of intermittent sitting. So it's not just the total amount you get. A good rule of thumb is not to exceed about half an hour of continuous sitting before you take some sort of break. And that break could be 5 seconds long. It almost doesn't matter that much. Really just getting up, stretch, move, run to the water cooler, whatever. On long trips, on road trips, just pull off to the shoulder, get out of the car, stand up, sit back down, go again. You don't even have to go to a rest stop or anything, but just breaking up the continuity of sitting can go a long way. Planes, also great. Personal recommendation of mine is to always get yourself an aisle seat so that you can very conveniently and frequently get up without disturbing anyone else, and just stand in the aisle for a moment, stretch, move around a little bit, sit back down. Again, even if it's 10 seconds, it goes a long way towards lessening the deleterious effects of sitting. So give it a try. I hope you find it useful, and I'll catch you next time.